Hi everybody, Helena here.
And Kelly here.
We are Speaker Insight, where we help speakers, authors and coaches to build and our guest Patrick in a location that's a little bit noisy. We'll be a little bit more loud about things and see what we can actually do about that.
I actually have a hard time hearing you guys now.
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe
it's better now. You're better, Helen.
Yeah. Okay, good. Right.
Is there a lot of background noise where you are, Patrick? Because every now and
then. A little bit.
Okay.
Okay, good. In which case, as I said, we are Speaker Insight. We help speakers, authors, and coaches to build a business on your terms. And today, as you can see, we are definitely interviewing someone that we think you, as a speaker, author, are really interested in built up his network, his reach, and just is able to do a very different medium that maybe some of you haven't ever even considered. So we're going to be talking about meetups in a second. Before that, as always, I want to make sure that we do the buzz of your business. So for those of you who are joining us at the moment, I don't know how many of you are already here, but we would love to know the buzz in your business. What's exciting, intriguing, what's been happening, what is going to be happening that you are pleased about and want to shout about. So put those in the comments for us below.
And I know Alice was saying that the noise is there seems to be a lot of background noise.
Are you hearing my background noise?
Yeah. So okay. It might actually be that we resort to the headphones after all.
Okay, hold on 2 seconds.
So in the meanwhile, those of you who are actually listening to us, whilst Patrick sorts that out, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the buzz in our business.
Because we've had a lot going on.
We have. Before I do that, replay for you. Please do a hashtag replay in the comments so that we know when you're listening, because that actually allows you, by all means, do the replay, ask your questions anyway, tag us, like Patrick, tag us, do what you need to do to get your questions answered as far as that goes. So what have we been up to? Which was amazing and incredible, and 6 delicious new businesses, ideas, change makers out in the world, actually grounded and putting the foundations in your business. So one of the things that we find is that it's all well and good wanting to change the world, but you still need to be thinking about what behind it. So that's like a marriage of both, and it's one of our favorite things to do. I like the sky.
Patrick, you've gone upside down.
I know, guys. Can you hear me now? Is this working?
Yes. We can hear you, but we can't see you.
I know. Hold on 2 seconds. I'll be with you.
He has joined the angelic realm and will be beaming from there.
It's like the Michelangelo ceiling, isn't it?
So how is it working with this headset?
That is good.
It sounds good.
Okay. Okay.
Right. And everyone that's watching, give us a thumbs up if you can hear everyone all right and the static's gone. While we're doing that, Amy's saying the buzz for me is I'm building a second course for online audiences. This one is about stress and anxiety. No one has any of that right. No, we're not having any stress
not right
or anxiety.
now. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Amy, that's amazing though. So I just want to reflect on that, because last quarter you did a course. This quarter you're doing a course. Good on you.
And she's done all of her blog content for the next year, right? So
which is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
And we've also got something really exciting going on tomorrow.
Yes, we have a Connect and Create Day coming up tomorrow. So for those of you who don't actually know what that is, you are currently watching us from the Speaker Insight page, but where the real action is, where the conversation happens, is in fact inside the Connection Hub. So if you want to join other like-minded, like-valued speakers, authors, coaches, and all the people that make the business of doing that much easier, do click on the link and join us in there. Most of you who watch are actually already in there, which is heartening and amazing. But the Connect and Create days are actually a brilliant way to meet in person the people that you speak to online. So it's a brilliant day to get your networking done, but also to actually get your head down and work on your business with our eyes on your stuff. So yeah, and actually, yeah, we're full. We're full. It's all good.
We sold out a week or so ago.
Yeah.
So Patrick, now we have sound and quiet from you.
Yep. Hello?
Hi.
Oh, can you not hear us?
You suddenly disappeared. Did you have a question, sir?
I did, yeah. So I was just saying, so now we know, hopefully you can hear us. Tell us a little bit about the buzz in your businesses at the moment.
Oh, there's so many things that's going on. First of all, we just reached a goal that I've been working on for, well, 5-6 years. I think we've been the biggest business meetup, the third biggest business meetup group in the world for about 5 years. And it's always had this special ring to it to be the second or the first in the world. And then we became the second biggest business meetup group in the world just a couple of weeks ago.
Awesome.
So that was,
really is.
that was incredible.
6,000 members, right?
Yeah, about 26,200 members almost now, and yeah, it's going incredibly well. We're starting to attract attention from people who actually want to invest in it. It was something I never was looking for, and but now I actually can see how we can grow this to something that is worldwide. We probably at some time we can change the name so it's scalable outside of London, and grow a worldwide community. So it's just freaking amazing. And then on Thursday, I have a workshop called Your Perfect Pitch, how to demand attention in seconds. And that's one of my favorite subjects. Of course, I'm an expert on influence, how to craft the right words to get the attention of your target market and get people to take action. And on Tuesday, we have a talk with Daniel Priestley, which I am really psyched about. We've had him a couple of times before. He's always been received as one of our absolute best speakers, and he delivers fantastic content. So really look forward to having him back and speak about how to get oversubscribed, which is one of his books.
Amazing.
We're a big Daniel Priestley fan.
We are. So we're just tagging him.
And I know that Michelle's saying, and Michaela's saying here, the buzz is reaching out to potential Delenta VIP coaches, and she wished she could be with us tomorrow. But don't worry, we've got Sam with us tomorrow.
So Sam is representing for you, and you'll just come next time, which will be next year, which is quite an interesting thing. Do you know we are about 90 days away from the end of the decade?
Don't say the C word.
I didn't say the C word. I said the end of the decade. Apparently, I'm not allowed to use that
not
at all.
Before Halloween.
We're ignoring everything until after Halloween. So anyway,
so Patrick, I've just put the link to your entrepreneurs group in the comments, so people here, if they want to come and see Daniel speak next week, or they want to go and check out your massive second biggest business meetup group in the world, then they can join the link and have a look at it now. And so what I'm actually going to do is lead into that, because actually some people who are on here may well have heard the word meetup but may not have a concept of it. So I'm going to backtrack right to that and say, tell us a little bit about you, Patrick, and your meetup group.
Okay, so I am originally from Denmark. I live here in the UK right now, and have quite traveled the world, quite a lot of countries. Been living in 9 different countries actually. I love traveling, but life was always not this easy as it seems now. I was actually unbelievably shy when I was young and had big trouble socially and otherwise. I didn't know what I wanted to be. I just knew that I was not going to be a landscape gardener, which I kind of by accident just fell into. So at 21, I started my first business, and it was absolutely massive failure. I lost my house, I lost my car, I went bankrupt within a year. And after brushing myself off, I was basically thinking about, what happened there and why did it go wrong? And I started to analyze it and find out that I lacked marketing skills, communication skills, sales skills. And I became so fascinated by learning this that I actually made it a business of mine to teach other people how to do marketing, how to communicate effectively, how to break through fear. Public speaking was a huge problem of mine. So fast forward, many failed business attempts, like many failed business attempts. In 2003, I said, this is it. I freaking have to make it. I have to make it. And I made this decision, draw a line in the sand, and said, this is it. And I joined a network marketing company and built it to 4,500 members in a year and 10,000 members in 2 years. And I basically retired more or less after 9 months, started to travel the world, live in amazing places like St. Lucia, Spain, in St. Lucia in the Caribbean, Dominican Republic, Australia, all kinds of places, Canada, the US, and have really enjoyed the lifestyle of just being able to make an impact in the world since. However, I made a mistake. I sold that business because I thought now I'm so smart. I can figure everything out, and became a little bit tired of doing the same thing. Wanted to have some new challenges, and challenges I certainly got because suddenly I was completely and utterly broke. There's a couple of things that went wrong. Lost some money in some scams, some investments I made them belly up, and suddenly I was in Dominican Republic and completely broke.
Wow.
Came back to the UK and restarted my life with £2,500. That was my personal life, including deposits for apartments and everything, including my business expenses. And I had no clue how to market myself because I didn't have any money. I didn't have any contacts here either. I had maybe a handful of contacts. And I thought, how can I survive? Well, I got to go out and do some networking. And I quickly found out that takes a lot of effort to run around doing your, one-to-one meetings all the time. So I thought, how about if I bring all my connections together once a month? I save time and money traveling, and I create more value for them in creating the connections and a place for them to connect with each other. And then it just suddenly took off. That's kind of a very, very short story.
And how long ago was that when you first started Entrepreneurs in London?
So I started Entrepreneurs in London in 2009. Yeah, so 10 years ago. We just had our 10 years anniversary.
That's awesome.
And you chose to do the Meetup platform. Was that simply because that was useful to you? Or is it you just picked somewhere?
Okay. All right. This is going to sound a little bit arrogant, okay, but I'm an honest guy. I just say things like they are. So some people get taken offense by this, but I saw the Meetup platform, and because of my background in copywriting and marketing and understanding influence and words, I could immediately see that, like, holy moly, all these guys are complete amateurs. They have no clue how to market themselves.
Right.
And I thought, this is a platform that I can win on without a budget. Right, because I had no money. I started my Meetup with £70. I was completely and utterly broke, and I can see that, hey, this is a place where I can actually win with my skills of creative copywriting, and that's what I did. And that was the secret. That's two secrets to our success in entrepreneurs. Two main ones. There are several small ones, but one, copywriting skills, to be able to find a good name for the group. First of all, to find great names for the meetups that catch the attention of people. And number two, understanding how to make people feel great at an event. It's not just putting the event up and creating a space for people to come. There's lots to it about how to make people feel great when they arrive. And those two things combined, good copywriting skills, and then making people feel great at the events. And also, by the way, choosing great speakers. Lots of meetups have crap speakers, and it's almost like there's no strategy about what kind of speakers they want or what quality they need to meet. They're just like, oh, somebody wants to come and speak. That's great. Let's get them in. And that's why most of those events you go to, the speakers are just horrible. So
obviously a lot
in
of
10 years we've only had two speakers that was horrible. We had two speakers that was horrible, and it was both at the time because I broke my own policy of checking it out properly.
Right. Good learning for us all there, right?
Yeah, it is. And some.
So a lot of our audience, as you know, are speakers, authors, and coaches, and I know that you are also, you do your own speaking, you're a speaker trainer, etc. You're a coach. How have you used Meetup and the Entrepreneurs in London? How does it fit into your business model?
Yeah.
Right. How do you use the platform and that group as a business for yourself?
Yeah, this is a great question because it's such an important understanding. Like, if you really want to make it big in business, you kind of have to know a little bit about what's around the corner, right? What's next? Where is the world going? What are the trends? one of the things you have to understand is that for quite some years, the internet has been ruling now, okay? But the way it's going is that the companies that actually really rule now and will rule the future are the ones that combine both the offline and the online marketing, right? Because it's offline, that's where real connections happen. That's where real trust happens. And trust is everything in business. It's basically the business that develops trust the fastest with the most people are the ones that win.
Yeah.
Right? So the online world is a great place to attract leads, but especially if you sell something very high-end services, consulting, coaching, a speaker, you've got to have the offline relationship in the mix, in your marketing mix. That's why the meetups is so powerful.
It's just really interesting that you say that, because originally when we very first started Speaker Insight, the Connect and Create days didn't exist.
No.
And it literally was for exactly the reason that you're talking about, that we put those in the mix, because it just allowed people to connect and trust and have the conversations together
Yep.
in a room, and all sorts of collaborations have come out of that. So not taking away from Kelly's question, so how are you using your platform, so to speak, to build your business? Okay,
so obviously having a hat be so big has created a lot of attention. So I use it as a door opener whenever I'm talking to somebody I want to get in contact with, whether it's a podcast host I want to get on the show or whatever, opening up with that, hey, we're the second biggest business meetup group in the world. That opens a lot of doors. But I also, of course, I speak myself at my meetups from time to time. As I said, I have a talk or a workshop here on Thursday. So I use it for really showcasing my skills for my members, and I'm also using it to kind of test what kind of subjects or titles of subjects that work well, right? So I can, for example, that you can do a training that basically have 3 different titles that are completely and utterly different, right? But you can kind of test what kind of titles work well, and also what subjects work well. So you can say, okay, well, this subject worked really well. Then maybe it's worth doing a training on that subject, or creating an online program, putting more effort into going in that field. So you get a quick sense of what your market wants. And that's great. And of course, the connections I'm creating as well with the speakers that is coming to give them an opportunity to sell and be exposed to their target market. Creating lots and lots of great relationships. But the way I mainly use it is the people that are coming to events, to every single event, try to focus on creating just minimum of 2, preferably 3 to 4 good connections that I can see could be of value, or I could be of value to them, and then follow up and build relationships with them afterwards.
Great, brilliant. So you're saying having a meetup group allows you to have that offline connection where the trust and the relationships are built with your own tribe. Have it so that you can do market research and test materials. Have it so that you can offer joint venture relationships out to people and build those connections. And have it so that you can start profiling yourself as a speaker and build your credibility from the size and the reach in the room. Good reasons for me. Really good reasons. So then we want to sort of just talk about Meetup as a platform in itself. So why do you think that it's a unique platform?
Okay, I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with Meetup, because because it's a great idea. I mean, fantastic idea. They were the first to come up with the idea of creating a place for people that actually want to meet in the real world to connect and find each other online. That is fantastic, and it's growing like crazy. It's really it's exploded in the last 3-4 years, because it is really serving a need. Like, we are more, actually, even though we are more electronically connected in the world than we've ever been, we're more disconnected humanly, emotionally. We're more disconnected than we've ever been. And there's actually proof of this in North America, at least. I'm not sure if it's the whole Western world, but at least in North America, people have on average 0.75 close friends. That means that 0.75 close friends on average, right? So we're so disconnected now in the way that we live. So Meetup created a fantastic idea, but as a platform, it's not very good. Okay, and the reason I find it kind of limiting is that the members cannot really communicate properly with each other.
Okay.
But it's a great way for you as an organizer to reach your target market, to get them into the real world, where you then can create those connections.
Right.
So let me because we're talking about the online and then the offline.
Yeah.
I think we highlighted the offline benefits of, like, you know, being in the room, having those joint ventures, building the rapport and the trust. When you're talking about the online stuff, can you explain what it's like for people from a search optimization? I know you were saying about having a good title is your thing, but obviously, in my opinion, and I've been on Meetup, I don't run Meetup groups, it's quite geared for you to actually have geographical locations, right? So if you're a company or a product or a service that is really specific to a certain location, this is going to be a good match. It helps, for you, right? But I want to know,
absolutely.
As an organizer, you get all the email details from everyone that registers and buys, and then you can then, so tell me more about this.
Unfortunately, no. And I'll tell you, I would be extremely happy and probably pretty rich if we had all 26,000 emails. Nice. Unfortunately, we can send them an email through the Meetup platform, but we don't get access to the actual emails. The problem is that lots of people will join when they find Meetup. It's like, wow, this is an amazing place, and there's all these things that they want to join. So they join 10, 15 different Meetup groups, and suddenly they start getting emails from all these 10, 15 different Meetup groups, and then they feel overwhelmed of getting too much email. And in their mind, it's all from one place. It's from Meetup. Right. So they start, even though that they're still members of the Meetup group, lots of them unsubscribe from the email notifications. So what's really, really important, and something that I failed to do, is to capture email addresses when people come to the meetups. You must do that so you can follow up on them elsewhere and engage with them outside of Meetup, because the Meetup platform is not very good at engaging your target audience.
Okay. And let me ask you this question, and I'm just going to highlight from Amy. She says they're truly friendless over here. She's listening from North America. So when you were saying about the 0.75 friends, she says that's why she loves us, because we're her friends.
Amy, you just move over here, darling. Just come over.
But my question then, Patrick, is when you're looking at course platforms, like, say, for example, Udemy, when you don't get their email addresses either, and they are quite strict on when you contact them via the Udemy platform, that you can't actually say, oh, come and complete this quiz or download this. Could you send our Meetup as strong as that, to say, here's a lead magnet or whatever, to give you some more value about what I talk about? And
absolutely. Yeah, you could do that. They have become a lot less strict with the policies. They used to be quite strict, but you can do a lot today, as long as you kind of follow what their mission is, which is to get communities working together and creating communities. So if you have real world meetups, as long as you have that, you can definitely from time to time send some promotion.
Okay.
Right.
So
you can even do webinars, but you can't have a Meetup group that is like purely webinars and purely there to sell stuff. They will close it down. Okay, they will close it down. And you can't be too promotional in sending messages to non-members.
Right.
You can contact non-members, but you can't be promotional in it, because if they basically say it's a spam, then they might close it down. But they'll give you a warning first.
Okay, so what I'm really liking hearing is that if anybody that's watching this live and is thinking, okay, it's going to be of value for me to have a physical group on a regular basis because of the reasons we said at the beginning, your tip is to make sure that you get their details when they're physically in the room, and potentially to market to everyone that's just subscribed to your Meetup group that might not have actually been to a meeting yet, to maybe get some data capture that way, to then, because there's no reason why you couldn't have your Facebook group or whatever else under the same name, and this is just a physical version of meeting up with it.
Of course. of course.
Okay.
But you must think about, how can I engage them? How can I get their contact details outside of Meetup? How can I engage them outside of Meetup?
Okay, and so bringing it back to that. So as a speaker, author, or coach, if I suddenly kind of go, hang on a minute, I quite like this idea, and I do have something regular that I do, and I do want to be found in this way. Tell us a little bit about the kind of behind the scenes around what does it take to set it up? What do I need to have? What assets might I need to do? How much does it cost? What are all of the behind the scenes things that someone needs to know?
Okay, so it's fairly cheap. I can't even remember exactly how much I'm paying, but let's say it's about $20 a month. It's approximately around that. And then for that, you have 3 meetup groups. Okay, like if you wanted to have lots of different meetup groups, there's another payment option. I think it's $100 a month or something. And then you can have, like, let's say you have a group that you actually running meetups in many different locations.
Yeah.
Then you can use that option. But the normal option for 3 meetups is approximately $20 a month.
Okay.
Apart from that, there's really quite little cost, which is obviously also attractive. Many events, you actually get the venues for free. We rarely pay for the venues, especially when we go in and say, hey, we can bring some people in here to your cafe or your bar or whatever it is on a slow night. What is the slowest day? And it was Monday or Tuesday or whatever, and say, great, we can bring 20 people or 50 people or 100 people or whatever it is, and they'll be happy to give you
do they ask for like a minimum spend at the bar or whatever, or are you just?
Sometimes they do. It depends on how big it is, how popular it is. Some of the less popular ones, then you can get it for no minimum spend. We're using one for one of our social events at the moment. We call it Entrepreneurs Night Out. We have that monthly, where we're just hanging out in the bar, and we use one that is that has no minimum spend.
Nice.
They tried to in the beginning, right? But I become quite a good negotiator, so I negotiated no minimum spend.
Right.
So and that's just so you know, whatever they mention in the beginning, I once had somebody mention £2,000 minimum spend, and within literally 90 seconds got it down to 500. Right. So with like whatever price they say, just understand they're actually trying to bullshit you.
Yeah.
Right. They really are. They're just giving a price that is like completely and unrealistically high, because I guess they found that some people will just accept it, I guess.
And so what suggestions do you have for people in terms of, you mentioned that obviously the copy was really important and that sort of thing. So if I've decided that actually, yes, having a meetup works, I've negotiated, I've asked more than once, on the pricing, what would you suggest around the best way to actually go about it? Do I have a long description, a short description? Do I have links? What's the best way of setting up my meetup page?
Probably the longer description, the better. It's been found that any copy, typically long copy outsells short copy, and it's probably about 80 to 90% of the cases, long copy will outsell short. So the longer description, the better. It doesn't have to be super long. What is most important is that you understand your target market, you understand their pains, their dreams, what are they about, what do they want, what kind of mission would they buy into, and then just be very personal as well. Like show them who you are, what's your passions, why you're running this group, what drives you. Try to be as personal as possible, and yes, show your personality. Not be afraid of that, because there will be people that will be attracted to that. Some people are kind of afraid of showing too much of their personality in the copy up front, but if you're going to meet people, they will find out who you are anyway at some point. They will know your personality at some point. So why not just show it up front? Some of the ads that we ran in the beginning, and in some of the phrases around the copy on Entrepreneurs Night Out would be the most unboring meetup in London. The most unboring networking event. Right. Well, literally, I was profiling it back like that, because I found the networking events that I went to horribly boring, and I thought, my God, there's gonna be some people out there like me that actually want more fun. They want to just less stuffy, less business business-like, and just like more personal. And so I thought, I want to create something like that, and I'm going to profile myself as the most unboring meetup in London.
Fantastic.
And so when people are searching, say for example, I'm on Meetup and I'm looking to find some friends because I'm in North America. But say for example, do you put your Meetup groups, are they looked at by keywords, by categories? How do they actually segment them?
Yeah, they're looked up by categories and keywords, and it's a very kind of rudimental search engine that Meetup has. So if you actually in the description will mention your keywords quite a lot, and you have it in the title of the event as well, it has high likelihood of coming up. However, the way they've made it now is that they favor new meetups over older ones. So you know, annoyingly enough, mine doesn't come up a lot if you in the search, unless you specifically click the tab that says filtered by you know, the most members. Of course, then will we come up, right? But that's something that's not by default. So they tend to favor newer meetups, which I kind of understand. They want to help new meetups get going.
Sure.
So that's to your benefit in the beginning. But it's also very important to list in the categories, like for example, if you're about health, wellness, that you list all the different categories in, because people are often subscribed to be notified if there's a meetup with a specific subject that is starting in their area. So yes, choose as many categories in the beginning as possible to list your meetup in.
We've just got a comment from Michaela who's saying, do we have a solution for you, Patrick, to help you get emails from your attendees? Is there an app or something? And I know she keeps on asking us. So one of the things that we did an interview with Sam, and if it's a business meetup like Patrick's is, then potentially getting everyone to open their LinkedIn app and actually putting the button on that shows who's on LinkedIn in the room, and then you can actually match contacts that way. That would be a good way. But like most things, Michaela, go back and watch one of our videos on lead magnets and sales funnels explained. But it's more about adding some form of value through a lead magnet to say, you know, if Patrick was doing his one coming up about presentation skills and pitching, there'll be a download of like the top presentation skills and software and blah, blah, blah to use that they can follow up with.
And I'm assuming that most of the speakers that you have who come in offer some kind of added value in some way to your audience, right?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can use again at the live events. Textlocal.com is a good one where they can just type text the 5-digit number and maybe call it, you know, Entrepreneurs in London, and then they go into your CRM system. So there's lots of ways to do it.
Oh, okay. Didn't even know that.
That's good.
So you could actually have a 5-digit number and it's called like EIL. They text EIL, Entrepreneurs in London, to that 5-digit number, and they automatically go into your CRM system and start a nurture campaign.
Wow, how about that? That's awesome.
We love to educate. We love to educate. It's all good.
That's brilliant. Love it.
So I think for me, this is, I mean, Meetup's always been there. And I think another thing just to add is that when you're getting known for something, because you might not come up high, Patrick, on the Meetup platform, but when someone's putting entrepreneurs events in London in Google, I know that your Meetup page comes up high. It does. Right? So it's coming up indexed on Google rather than on Meetup. So this is all ways driving traffic to you. So
absolutely.
And for me, I think the biggest thing that I'm really hearing for our speakers, authors, and coaches is that whatever the event is that you want to do out in the world, you actually
hold on, two guys.
Fire alarm.
Okay. Yeah. 207. Okay, thank you. Sorry guys.
That's all right.
That's all right. So the big thing that I'm really taking away is that Meetup is actually a great way to be found and to hold the space for and be the platform holder that then allows you to be seen in the quote unquote real world. So where the connections actually happen. So I love this idea of actually thinking through. So for all of you who are thinking, actually, I hadn't considered this as a platform, you know, our invitation is to go, okay, so what is it that you want to hold a space for? What platform do you want to build for yourself? And how can you use Meetup as a way to get people into connection with
because
you?
we know that a lot of our people want to run events, but the worst thing about events is filling them, right? So at least on Meetup, you've got a community there of people that are actively looking to physically do it.
Yeah.
We just need to work out how our speakers, authors, and coaches can make something about it being the local, that being in that specific area, right?
Well, I'm excited by it, and I hadn't actually considered it because, of course, I am actually currently working as wearing my other hat in my other business. I am literally doing a local business. So I'm actually doing a local LAS type of business event, and it hadn't even occurred to me until we've just been talking, even though I've known.
Oh, really? Wow.
I'm like, this is an obvious one for me, right? So
it's really honestly a fantastic place to. I wouldn't call it the Meetup platform is fantastic, but it's a fantastic idea. I think that they will keep on evolving it and improving it over time to make it more practical for the online part of the connection. But it's a brilliant way to connect with your target audience. Just don't think it necessarily in the beginning. It's like it takes work, right? That's what most like almost everything that people do. They start it, and then after a while they give up. It's the same thing with the meetups. They start it, they get it to 200 people, and they can't seem to get people to the meetups, and they think, oh, you know, this is not working. No, it's not that it's not working. You first of all, you did it wrong. You came up with the wrong names for the events. You don't understand how to make people feel great at the events, and then you quit too soon.
And you know, it's a testament to your nature that you are a persevering sort. So it kind of makes sense that you're actually, it does what it says on the tin description of this. I was just going to say, so I at the last vision board workshop that I ran, somebody actually has a Meetup group of over 1,000. And one of the ways that she's monetized that, interestingly enough, is, and she gets the fees at least paid for and everything else, is that she permits different people to actually promote their events into her Meetup group for a small fee, nominal fee, but, you know, sort of actually that was quite an interesting concept as well.
Another stream of income. It was only like
sure.
something, wasn't it, to promote it, but it was another way of thinking how to monetize the 1,000 people in their group. So I know
I just have one, if people think about doing that, because I know there are other meetup groups that do that, just keep one consideration in mind, okay? And that's, do you know what the quality of those meetups are that you're promoting?
And what was
Probably
really
not.
interesting, and that was what was really interesting for me, was that I have a criteria list for where I would choose to speak and so on and be represented. But what was really good was that she actually said, obviously she'd experienced the vision board workshop, so she ticked off some of her criteria, but she said, I'm still going to send you the survey form that makes me double check that you are right to actually promote to my group.
Sure. Sure, absolutely.
So we put I've put your link again to your Entrepreneur in London group, and I've also put the link to your website, Patrick, because I know there's lots of various things that you offer, and I know I think it's one of your blog posts on your website is top tips of how to run a meetup group, which I'm sure many people will want to check this out.
I also have a downloadable training program on Meetup called Meetup Made Easy, which covers basically everything that you need to know. Both in terms of like all the errors people make, what kind of names to choose, you're finding the right copywriting, how to actually run the events in a way that people like them and will come back, and tons of things.
Amazing.
That's awesome. So hopefully, I know that we've had some people say that they've joined your Meetup group while they've been on the live.
Really?
So
Welcome. Welcome.
Soon.
Yes, that will be a wonderful thing, right? So that's the next milestone, being the number one
in the world.
Absolutely.
Well, we're very, very grateful for you taking the time to share all that you've learned from your Meetup experience with everyone here. And Patrick's an active member inside the Connection Hub anyway, so I'm sure he'll kind of happily share any info that you ask him about.
And if you're watching this on the replay, just carry on asking questions, tag us or Patrick in there, and we'll get back to you.
It's all good.
Well, have a great day.
Yes, thank you.
Enjoy yourself.
Thanks, guys.
See you later.
Whatever you do out there in the world, give it all you got.
100%.
Take care. Bye now.